All right, here we go again. Welcome to another edition of AI for Marketing. And I'm happy to have everybody here. We've got an exciting announcement. We are partnering with the Miami-Dade mayor and EOer Dan Grech from BizHack Academy in South Florida on a masterclass series in AI for marketing. And so we're going to be bringing some of these conversations to life in Miami later this year. So that's something to look forward to. So put it on your calendar. It's going to be around the 11th. I'm speaking at an e-com conference on the 11th. So we're going to organize something there. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about that because this is like the mayor is sponsoring this, and we'll have a nice AI presence in Miami, which is always fun. Today we have Mellissah Smith with Robotic Marketer, and she's going to tell us a little bit about marketing strategies, why you need them. Mellissah is a 25-year plus marketer and EO member. This is her love and her expertise. She's so good at it. And I've been lucky to be in some meetings with Mellissah where she comes up with amazing ideas on the fly. And she has put all of her life's work into an AI. So then you get the benefit of Mellissah's brain helping you with your marketing strategies. And I think I'm going to turn it over to you, Mellissah.
Fantastic. Hi, everyone. As you can tell, I have an Australian accent. As Nicole was mentioning, I started in marketing a long time ago, actually more than 30 years ago, which is really quite scary. I started my first business when I was 25 years old. So I'd already climbed to being the head of marketing at that age, so extremely young. And I was really fortunate at that point in time to be working in the technology industry. So really having that touch point of seeing innovative companies really build out products from startup all the way through to global major players. And that's, one of the most exciting journeys to watch. When I started my first company, the vice president of Gartner Group, Bob Hayward, mentored me. And so that was a really fortuitous time for me because he opened all of these doors, all the companies that were coming to Australia that were looking for marketing support. He really knocked on my door and he said, Mellissah, can you help them out? So I got a lot of insight into companies that were expanding into Australia, that were startups way back then. So if you think about 25 years ago, some of the early stage businesses like Salesforce, I was really able to understand where they were at, what helped them scale and what made them successful, and just the way that they looked at technology and innovation, that sales process, and of course the marketing process. At 25, I joined the Entrepreneurs Organization. For clarity, I'm not in EO anymore. I believe that I aged out, although I do know that these days no one ages out. But in my era, we kind of got to a certain point and we tend to either move on and keep our connections and keep really part of that network, but do other things and spend our time in different ways. Robotic Marketer has been the most interesting journey I've ever had. I have been in marketing consulting agencies for, as I mentioned, the last 25 years. And there's so much you learn owning an agency, working with thousands of companies on their marketing strategies, on their marketing campaigns. Most companies want to build their brand and they want to generate leads. They're usually the two main areas of marketing that most companies are interested in. So as I built out my business in Australia and the US and in Europe, one of the things that really struck me is that I could employ a marketer with 2 years experience or 20 years experience. And yet in no instance was I able to employ someone who could truly do a marketing strategy in the best interest of the client. what happens with marketers is they tend to be skilled at 2 or 3 different areas of marketing. If you're really lucky, they'll grab data from a few different data points, and they'll develop a strategy. You know, a strategy may mean to some people 1 page, or it may mean 50 pages. It really depends on what their lens is from the perspective of marketing, and also what their appetite is for understanding what a true marketing strategy is and what's its true role within your organization. So one of the key things I learned from that was, no matter what amount of training I did, I really couldn't get every single marketer to have the same skills and be able to authentically provide marketing strategies at the level that they needed to help the client be as successful as possible. So one day I literally threw my hands up in the air and I thought something has to change. In that particular year, I'd been very profitable and I decided to give my money away. And I gave it away to regional and rural communities to help build startups in areas that were affected by drought. And as part of that, I went out to universities and big corporations and did a lot of public speaking about rural Australia and some of the challenges that people face being in rural communities, like not having internet. And I went to a university called Queensland University of Technology, and they were showing me their robotics division. And what was really fascinating about that, they were showing me a particular robotics project that won the best project in the world for Amazon. And it was a crop duster. So it literally sprayed crops with fertilizer. And I went away thinking, well, I could do other things with that piece of technology, even though it's definitely not my field. And, you know, I sort of went down that path, really wanted to do something with this piece of technology because I found it exciting. You know, robotics is exciting, and it was a physical robot. So, you know, when you can see it as well, not just know it exists, it's extremely exciting. And so what I did was I, you know, knocked on the door of my mentor, who I got from EO. His name is Jack Cowan. He is an amazing human being. Look him up. Really well worth hearing his story. And certainly if you can see some videos, what are his top 10 points for entrepreneurs? And, you know, we were discussing, well, okay, let's make this happen. Let's use this to help, you know, parks and gardens and councils and public places. And, you know, we followed that through. We got in front of the developers of the technology and they said, hey, we developed it for this project. We don't really want to do anything with it. And it made me feel really disappointed. So when I went back to my office, I realized, well, how would I use robotics and AI in my business? And it was like this light bulb went off. And I know that we've all felt that at some time in our careers. But that was that moment for me where I realized that there's so many areas of marketing in which you can automate, which you can do better. You can set rules and algorithms around industry best practice, around knowledge that's acquired over, you know, points of time. And I was able to also draw on the fact that because I had an insecurity about the quality of marketing strategies that were out in the market, I would record every single workshop we ever did. And we still do workshops in the same way we did, you know, 20 years ago, which is really great, fortuitous for us because we were able to use that as part of the basis of machine learning. If you are going down that path, or maybe you already have, I used Queensland University of Technology as the developers of the prototype for us, just to make sure that my idea worked. So I had this great idea. I was going to automate the development of strategy. I was going to use data in a meaningful way. I was going to learn from past experiences from both that company, but the industry, and other like industries that may have similar models or similar customer base that would be really powerful for that learning process. So the prototype was finished in 12 months. It was meant to be 6 months, but it was 12 months. So, you know, nothing ever works to a schedule. When you're developing software, it's never finished on time. And that's something that we all learn to live with. When they gave us the prototype, I got my first marketing strategy that was automated by artificial intelligence in my inbox. And I opened it and it was about 20 pages at that point in time. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. It wasn't that great in full transparency, but it just showed me that the process can work. So if you could think of areas of your business, where can you automate it, whether it's existing technology that's sitting in the market or technology that you may be coming up with to help businesses solve what their problems really are. So we hired a team of people in-house. We did it the most expensive way possible. Wages in Australia are not cheap. And we developed Robotic Marketer based on the best platforms, the best technologies, and the best ways of developing an artificial intelligence software that has machine learning and that's really truly using big data. The technology today is incredible. We have worked with thousands of companies, so there's been a lot of learning within the technology. It really does things that I, as a marketer with 30 years experience, cannot do. It dig deeps into competitors. It understands who your competitors are, what they're doing well from a marketing perspective, what they're not doing well. It looks at your customer. Where can you find your customers? What are they most interested in? What type of messages do you need to be connecting with your customer so that they really have an affinity with your business and start nurturing, going through that nurture stage in your sales funnel? And how do you get attention? How do you build your brand? How do you stay top of mind in your prospects mindset and in your customers? How do you resell to customers that may have dropped off over time? All of these things that we think we need to do but don't ever get access to doing it in a meaningful way, or we don't have time, or we don't have resources. It really allows us to use data in the way that it's intended. In my industry, being marketing, for the last 5 years, certainly data-driven marketing strategies have been top of mind. Everyone's talking about it. You can hear a speech from Forrester or Gartner Group or any of the big agencies about data-driven marketing strategies. No one truly does that. Robotic Marketer is the first and only AI-powered marketing strategy technology platform in the market today. And there's a lot of reasons why there hasn't been an influx of companies following us really fast. There's certainly companies that have raised capital to do so, but it is a really hard slog because if you think about marketing, there's a lot of different variables in marketing. How you look at strategy, how you look at your competitors, how you look at your own strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, how you use competitor information, whether it's sorting through whether it's meaningful or not, how you develop a media list, how do you pitch to media, what's interesting to media, what's interesting to blog content if you're business to consumer or business to business or business to government, all very different variables. And there's so much there that you need to learn and be able to use in some sort of meaningful way. So what we've developed is Robotic Marketer. It's an AI-powered marketing strategy technology platform. It develops your marketing strategy. So if you can imagine a 50-page, very intensive marketing strategy with everything you need to be successful in marketing, that's aligned to your business goals, your sales forecasts, your marketing objectives, and the resources and ability for you to implement is also taken into account. So those factors are really critical to being able to have a strategy that you're actually going to do something with. So we developed strategy, we managed its performance. We have a platform that manages the performance of the strategy and tells you, what you need to improve from a marketing perspective, where you can optimize your marketing. So if an email marketing campaign is doing really well and it's working in with your social media, which is working in with your landing page, well, how do you use that? And should you put more into that type of campaign because you're getting a higher return on investment than perhaps Google Ads or other platforms? So it's telling you all the things that we just don't have the time to look into as deeply as we should be, or in a way that we're actually going to be able to do something with that information. So the technology does all of that for us. It executes, and I'm sure everyone else is as interested as I have been in ChatGPT. I was a very early adopter and I love it. I think Jasper AI is nowhere near in the ballpark when it comes to content. Hopefully no one's from Jasper here, but I tried it for a month and I was like highly disappointed, and I went back to the drawing board from there. But ChatGPT is really game changing. But for me, it's more than that. For us, when companies were thinking about AI powered marketing strategy, they were like, oh, really? Can AI really do that? I'm not sure. It sounds like, we need a person to do that. We need a manager with 20 years experience to put that together. And there's all this doubt about what AI can actually accomplish. But ChatGPT changed the mindset of the broader mass population. It made people realize that AI has advanced at an extreme level, and we are further ahead than we thought we'd be as a community when it comes to AI. Some of the really smart things that artificial intelligence is doing today is just mind-blowing. And we get to experience that in marketing and in business as entrepreneurs. So ChatGPT for us, we are building an API into ChatGPT. So not only do we have a strategy and we have an implementation plan as well, but we also have an ability to implement that to at least 50%, if not higher. And that is an incredible leap when it comes to marketing technologies. And if you think about the full circle of marketing, you need a strategy. You need to implement it. You need to be measuring it. Once again, you fall back into Robotic Marketer to measure that. You need to report on the success, because you still have managers or stakeholders within the business that need to know whether your marketing is actually working for you. Once again, you're still staying in the realm of Robotic Marketer. And then ChatGPT does all the content lines, but not just the content lines. If you want to teach your team how to write a blog that's going to be seen by people, how to write social media, how to run a marketing campaign, how to read a marketing report, ChatGPT will teach you all of those things in a step-by-step basis. It's just getting those prompts right. And so part of our development within that API is to provide the prompts for the company that is using Robotic Marketer, so that we fast track that process. So they're not testing and having to spend a lot of time doing that. So as seamlessly as we can integrate Robotic Marketer into ChatGPT, it will be better for outcomes for us and for our clients. And it will really help us go to that next level, which is really going to be game changing for our entire industry. Then from there, if you think about it, you need a Hootsuite or a buffer to post your social media. You still need an email marketing platform and your CRM, but all that information all can work very seamlessly together in, almost like a circular motion, where it's end to end, and it's AI performing for us, AI driving our marketing outcomes. It's helping us scale at a level that absolutely was not possible before. And so you will see over the next 12 months a massive change in the way that companies are marketing. And you'll find a different role for many of your people within your marketing department. So yes, you'll still need somebody to finesse and personalize content. Don't get me wrong, it really only gets at 80% there. Jasper probably gets at 35% there. So you still need a person who can really personalize it, really draw on your brand and that brand personality and your brand attributes and unique selling proposition. But it will actually help you scale at a level that it wasn't possible before. And so if you want to have a high growth company, this really is the only path for you, because it allows the marketing staff to be at trade shows, to be front facing with customers, to be doing interviews for case studies, all those other things that they can be doing that are more about building that connection, building that relationship with the customer. And I think this is going to be really exciting for that. So I love how Nicole and her team are doing this course and these sessions on artificial intelligence, because it has come quantum leaps and it is changing the game, and it is changing the way that we look at how we interact with technology and how much we utilize or rely on technology to power our performance. So looking at your brand, well, what can you do from marketing to cut costs, to improve efficiencies, to scale marketing efforts, to get more customers, to have better customer relationships, to build better loyalty, to be where your customers are. And artificial intelligence plays such a big role in doing that. I'm sure I don't need to tell anyone why you need a marketing strategy, but happy to go through the reasons why you do need a marketing strategy. Marketing strategies, for many people, you're all EOers, so I know that you've seen Vern Harnish's strategies, you've looked at the Rockefeller habits strategy, and I'm sure there's a lot of other methodologies on how to better perform as business owners and as entrepreneurs. So where does marketing fall into that? You need to have a business plan. If you don't have a business plan, you shouldn't have your doors open, and that can be anything from a 4 or 5 page business plan all the way through to something that's far more comprehensive. From there, you need, as part of that business plan, you need a marketing strategy. And that marketing strategy needs to be talking to the business plan. It needs to understand the business plan. It needs to understand what is it that your sales team need to do to achieve the goals that have been set out. And so a marketing strategy, if you have it documented, there was a survey last year that came out, you're 313% more likely to achieve your business goals with a documented marketing strategy. You're a further 326% more likely to achieve your business goals with an implementation plan. So just to give you a picture, what comes out of Robotic Marketer, because it is artificial intelligence, is a documented 50-page marketing strategy, a full 12-month implementation plan. So, the implementation plan has every tactic, how long it will take to do those tactics. And at the bottom, it tells you each month, how many hours does that mean for your business, so you can allocate resources to to marketing, or you can lay out marketing tasks that really don't fit in with what your team needs to be doing for that month. An executive summary, a 2-pager. Every senior management team needs a 2-pager, very important in marketing. Budget, and then that dashboard. The dashboard's really meaningful, and I will actually show you what a dashboard looks like. There is a new version coming out in the next 2 weeks, but in the interim, I will certainly show you that. Robotic Marketer. So Nicole, would you like me to do just a small demonstration?
I would love that. I'd love a screen share.
Okay. For somebody who's developed a software, I'm extremely poor at using these platforms. So I've shared. Can everyone see my screen or not yet?
Not yet.
How's that not working? Okay. We might just do that. Okay.
There we go.
Fantastic. So Robotic Marketer, the entire software is made to be easy to use. I originally developed Robotic Marketer fairly much for you guys. So really looking at that small to medium sized business that, we were using Vern Harnish's Excel spreadsheet on, what our business goals were and what's our next step. Well, we needed to develop a marketing strategy. So, it literally has, a form there on each page that says, what's the name of your company? What are the key challenges you're having in marketing? What are your social media handles? What's your website address? That information is really important. Once you put your website address in, the technology starts going crazy. It starts looking at everything from your competitors to your customers to, what's your traffic look like, what your social media looks like, really powerful stuff. And then as part of the process is deeper understanding what are the goals of the business, what are your marketing objectives, just really easy questions, very easy to fill in, we'll have a self-service function within the technology by July, but at the moment we're doing it through agencies. So we're giving agencies access to the technology and they're going through the experience with their customers, which is really wonderful. And Nicole uses it within her company as well. So the digital dashboard, the aim is to bring your entire strategy into one place to really understand, well, what is our marketing strategy? How are we performing? And to be able to keep an eye on it. I used to go from each social media account to Google Analytics to then go and look at my competitors and see how they're performing. And it used to take days. I'm not saying hours, it took days. It was an enormous time waster for me, but I needed to do it to understand them. And if I look at when I'm most successful as a company is when I know exactly what my competitors are doing. I know where I'm positioned. I know that I'm constantly going up in my social media or in my website performance or my email marketing campaigns, that everything's going up. And so from that perspective, going from one platform to another can be really confusing. I used to handwrite it down in my diary. So really old school stuff. And a lot of people obviously use Excel spreadsheet. I'm extremely old school. And so this dashboard was a lifesaver for me. This is just an example for you, but it has more detail than this. But the dashboard allows me to know, well, how are we performing from a social media perspective? How are we performing from a digital perspective? How are all of our competitors performing? And you can put as many competitors in there as you want. When you're doing the strategy component, it actually adds a lot more than this because it tells you competitors that you have not identified. So competitors that are really competing with you for the same customer that may not be top of mind for your company. And we find that a lot with the companies we work with. Influencers, this is great. So all of these influencers are people I should be interacting with to push out my blogs, to push out my social media posts, to make sure that they get to know me and start talking about my business. I don't know how many of you use influencers in your business, but I've been on Twitter for a very long time in particular. And I have so many people with millions of followers that share my work. And that only happens because I've liked some of their posts, I've made a couple of comments, and I'm interacting with them. It's that two-way street. This allows me also to share other information that's topical in my industry. So ad week, for instance, 1, I want them to know me. 2, I want them to share my content. But 3, sometimes I want to share their content to show that I'm an industry expert, that I understand marketing and I'm passionate about it. This platform also tells you what are the popular hashtags. What are the hashtags that I should be using when I'm making a social media post? It tells me what keywords to use for Google Ads or for writing content on my website. It tells me all the different blog headings that I may like to use to get maximum amount of hits that are clickable, that have the right search engine optimization words. Now those blog headings, you copy and paste it in what is today an old-fashioned way into ChatGPT and get ChatGPT to write the blog for you, and it's got you 80 or 90% there. I always write some statistics as well, or refer to this company, or something just a little bit more personalized. It works a treat. It really does. And I actually spent one Saturday when ChatGPT first came out, and I did 400 blogs, and I did it over a day. And I did that just to see A, how fast I could do it, B, what's the quality of blog. So you keep on changing it and adapting it until it's right. With the way that we are doing our API, it will be right the first time. So it will be really easy for you to get the right information out of the system. Then, of course, you look at Google Analytics. You know, like most people, we go into these platforms and we're looking for, you know, what's our performance like? What, you know, should we be aware of? You know, where could we, you know, find opportunities from our website perspective? And what content's working, what content's not working. All those things that are really important, but to have that, you know, right there in front of you is really amazing. And then, of course, your email marketing campaigns. For this purpose, we've got two different platforms. This system integrates into a number of platforms like Salesforce, Nimble, HubSpot, you know, a number of different platforms. And it allows us now to read data from those platforms and actually compare it against our CRM system and understand, well, how is that affecting, you know, when we're doing an email marketing campaign, how's it affecting our website? How's it affecting our social media? Where are we getting our, you know, our leads through? Are we getting leads at all? If we're not, you know, what do we need to change and make recommendations? You know, given the nature of artificial intelligence, as it becomes smarter and smarter, it will predict the outcomes on all of our campaigns, on all of our marketing activities, and be really able to set the picture of what our performance is going to be like in the short term and in the long term. And particularly for those companies that put them, you know, find themselves in a position where maybe cash flow is a problem and they need to get cash flow really fast, it will help them be able to achieve that, knowing what campaigns will work for that business. It mightn't be your most profitable, but it might help with cash flow. We plan to do an API into accounting software, so we're able to analyze the data from, you know, what we're spending on marketing, where our customers are coming from, what are they spending, and how does that influence our CRM system. So when we get to that stage, hopefully by the end of the year, that's going to be really cool for the people who like numbers. I love numbers. I love to know where we're actually sitting. And for me, that's extremely important in the way that I look at marketing and I look at marketing's performance. Robotic Marketer is really a great tool also for productivity. You know, if you think a marketing professional would spend 1 month or more developing a strategy, you'd spend a lot more time than that managing the strategy, looking at reporting to management, doing an implementation plan, all those other factors that have to come into play. It certainly, you know, is a productivity tool. It gives them back that time so that they can do more marketing and more, you know, prospect and customer facing activities. It improves personalization. If you know your customers better, if you know where to find those customers, you're really able to talk to them in the language that they want to hear. You'll understand, you know, what their biggest challenges are, what are their pain points, and be able to adapt to that much faster. And just that whole automation, the more we can automate in marketing, the more personalized we can be about our marketing efforts, the more we can get our brand across. You know, we all have uniqueness in our brand, and if you haven't found it yet, find it. We're not all the same. We all have something that's different, and, you know, finding that unique value proposition is really critical, but it gives you that time to do that. And I think that in itself is really powerful. The fact that it integrates into different software is, you know, once again, productivity, efficiency. It's about understanding, well, how do all our different marketing tech stack work with each other? You know, what do we need? What don't we need as we're going forward? Because you're going to find in the next 12 months, you probably don't need all the technology that you're using today. You know, you'll be able to really streamline that and have better efficiencies in the way that you are, you know, investing in marketing technology. ChatGPT being, you know, free at the moment for many people, we pay, but that's because we need it for a different perspective, is really great because it helps you save a lot of money, and the other platforms that are out there are charging, but it helps you save a lot of money and time and resources, and really heightens that productivity side of things. You know, if you do have marketing staff that are using a platform like ChatGPT, make sure that you give them the time to learn it well, to know what prompts to put in. Because if you give them the time up front, they're going to save a lot more time on the back end, and you're going to get a lot more value out of that team member. Robotic Marketer and ChatGPT together is really powerful, because it really allows a lot of marketers who get disillusioned with mundane marketing tasks, get disillusioned with that constant reporting to management. They spend a lot of time, they procrastinate. A lot of people are working from home now. It's easy to be distracted. And what technologies like this that work so well together do is it allows them to get their work done a lot faster and do things that they really enjoy doing. You'll probably find your attrition rates will change by using artificial intelligence in your marketing department and in your organizations. And we've seen that already today. People are finding that they love their jobs a lot more, that they're more engaged, that they're doing things that they're really passionate about, and they can be creative. And if they haven't unlocked that creativity side of their brain in their careers, it gives them that opportunity to give it a go. And that's really quite interesting. So that's really Robotic Marketer in a very short nutshell. Certainly open to any questions that anyone may have. Is that the format you're using, Nicole?
Is that what?
Is that the format you prefer?
Yeah, that's good. I just wanted to comment too on what you said, is it does make it more fun again. And it gives everybody very clear direction. When we have the strategy and the implementation calendar, it's clear for our clients, it's clear for our internal team, it's clear for everybody what needs to be done and at what cadence. And so I think that's been a really good thing. And for us now, creating marketing strategies, before it could take easily 4 weeks, but like 6 to 8 weeks usually.
Yeah.
And now we can get them done in, 2, maybe 3 weeks. And so we cut our time, in half or even in a quarter, depending on the project. And so we can, everybody can be more productive and have these really great resources. And it's been so good. And then on the input side of it too, 100%, if anybody wants the marketing strategy, like Mellissah's team can do that and ask the right questions, because as we know, like with ChatGPT or any of the others, the inputs are really important to get the right outputs as well. We have a couple questions. Chris asks, would you please explain your pricing packages?
Awesome. So when we first brought the product to market, we charged quite high. And as you know, the technology has more customers on the system. It's $1,999, I think, to develop a strategy using our software. So if you think of the time saving and the resources, that is an enormous cost saving for any business. It's a 50-page marketing strategy, and I can't express more to you how important that is. If you think about all the time it takes for teams to find events, to find what webinar headings we should be using, what blog headings we should be using, what email marketing campaigns we should be running, what media list should we have, it takes a lot of time. What awards should we be nominating in? It takes a lot of time, a lot of man hours, and it's in that strategy. So you get it the first time. So you do your strategy, and you can, it's processes in 38 minutes. We do a proofreading of it because we still want to make sure that everything is right, that nothing's gone wrong with the technology. That will stop in the next few months, but at the moment we're still doing that. So the turnaround time is extremely fast. And then you can have different reports, and they're $50 or $100 each. The 12-month implementation report, you can have an executive summary report. The budget comes with a strategy if you put enough budget into the system. So that's all accessible to you. For the digital dashboard, it's $79 a month. But what that actually does for you, not only does it curate all of those technologies and bring it into one place, so you would save $79 just in time and wages. It also now has a feature that will be launched hopefully this week or next week, which will provide you with a report. And it will tell you, what's performing and what's not performing. And that will really help you have that clarity you need that you're unable to get just from looking at your, social media performance or your website. It will give you, clarity that I think is really necessary to make informed decisions and to know where to further invest in marketing and where to pull away.
Yeah. And then there's a question of, does Robotic Marketer work for B2C? E-com, and 100% absolutely yes. We've done a lot of B2C on there. And there was a bigger question. Can you use Robotic Marketer to create blogs and content?
You will be able to very shortly. It creates the headings. Our technology has been built on lots of different platforms. One of them is GPT-3, which is what ChatGPT has been built on. So there's some elements of that's already existing in the technology. When we complete the API into ChatGPT, it will allow you to not only develop a strategy, but it will allow you and have those headings or the lines that you need to be following from an email marketing perspective for campaigns, etc. It will actually provide you with an ability to put the right prompts into an integrated ChatGPT, so in the one system, where it will then spit out your blogs, your email marketing campaigns, your nominations for awards, how to get the most out of your social media that you may give to a junior staff member. So really it's taking away that senior element that we've always known is highly expensive, hard to find within your company. That the wages that today for a senior marketing manager are astronomical, and we look at it from our agency perspective and go, well, that's really hard to match right now. So this technology with ChatGPT, and certainly after we've done that integration, will be really instrumental in reducing the costs that companies have in marketing and allow you to spend more money on marketing that works. So whether it's advertising or whether it's trade shows, whatever it is that really helps you get the most out of your marketing, which is really important.
Okay, we have a couple more questions that are similar. So I'm going to do these both at one time. It says, how is Robotic Marketer different to other social listening tools to find influencers, competitors, etc.? And then can you show us how we would use Robotic Marketer in the grunt work, like finding influencers that have a following that we're targeting?
Yeah, sure. So, there's influencer technology out there. There's, technology that looks at your competitors. What Robotic Marketer does that's different is it's not that deepness in your influencers. It's telling you as a marketing manager or a marketing team, these are the 20 influencers you need to be communicating with this week. And next week, there'll be another 20. And then the following week, another 20. So it will actually start building that out in a doable manner according to what your team is able to accommodate. The second thing would be, so it will find those influencers, the people that have the highest influence in those areas. With competitors, what happens is, I think all these platforms, if I look at SEMrush, when I go into that and I, look at my competitors, it's very limited in its scope. Our algorithm is working on, in some cases, very different paradigm to a lot of these other platforms. So yes, it's finding those primary competitors, but it's finding other competitors as well. And I think that is really good for some companies. Like for a company like mine, it's really important. Maybe if there's only a couple of players in your market, it's not as important, but for a company like mine, it's extremely important to be more across that. but the competitors really understanding it gives you not just that website performance or not just the social media, it brings it all in together, which I think makes it very different.
Yeah, and we've got a comment question here. It says, it seems like Robotic Marketer really takes out the middle manager in marketing. Is that a key point that you use to sell?
Well, we don't use it to sell, but we probably should. I don't want to get attacked online, but I actually think, certainly you don't need as many senior people. If you've got Robotic Marketer, and you have a chat, even without Robotic Marketer being integrated into ChatGPT, you're using ChatGPT, for instance, it's making sure your grammar's right. It's making sure you're using the right language. It's doing all this work for you that it's really what your manager would be proofreading. So I feel like we don't need the skill level that we did need 12 months ago. Definitely not. And we work with much younger people than we've ever worked with. And it really brings down that salaries cost, which is really important. Like most businesses, I had a particular one of my companies that got hit really hard during COVID. So, that was really important to us. So I think in a lot of ways, Robotic Marketer was a lifesaver. And, when ChatGPT fell in my lap, I was like, wow, this is going to change everything. This is going to change the way that everyone looks at marketing departments. It's going to change what our needs are from a resource perspective. More agencies will probably benefit a lot because maybe you only need someone 1 or 2 days a week where you thought you needed them 5 days a week. So if I think about, I was working with a junior straight out of university marketer this morning, and within 2 hours we did 26 pages of content, and it's an omni-channel approach to a marketing campaign for a client, and it was that fast. Now she will go and spend maybe 3 hours more personalizing it, but she knows what to personalize it with now. And that's just a huge cost saving. To do that would take weeks, if not a month, or maybe more. And so for us, that cost saving is just, I can't believe it's happening. And it's happening at the right time, because a lot of our companies have been really pushed to the limit with COVID if we weren't a company where our products or services were in high demand during that period of time. So, it's really come at a good time. It's allowed us to go, okay, let's start from scratch. Let's rethink what marketing looks like. Let's rethink what marketing departments look like. And hey, we can now start trusting artificial intelligence. And we know it's not going to get us 100% there, but it's certainly going to get us 80% there.
Yeah.
So,
and I can say it saved us so much time, and we're able to do a lot more work because it's there. We can double or triple, quadruple what we can take on as an agency. With the
crazy.
same staff. Yeah. So there's another question here. Can you work with companies during the launch phase? This is something that we're discussing right now. It says, I have no historical data, but there's industry information out there. And is that enough to use Robotic Marketer?
I would say, well, Nicole, you had a question for me. Can we do a strategy without a website? We can. But it's just not as deep.
Yeah.
Because you need to compare what your performance is against other companies. I would say if you have no social media, no website, no LinkedIn account, nothing, then probably Robotic Marketer, you might wait a moment. And I say that, yes, we are building algorithms around situations like that, but it wasn't our priority. Our priority was more, you've got a website, you may have one social media, you may have all social media. So for us, that was our priority. And, as a developer, we have to look at, well, where do we put our resources? Where are we going to get the best bang for our buck? So that, for me, that was really important.
Yeah. And then we had some questions in there about if this is going to be recorded and people can see it later. And we've got a document that we'll put a link and notes in. And I think Andrea posted that. So Andrea, will you post the doc again?
I just laughed because I read something to the right that said, we're entrepreneurs, we do not mind getting rid of expensive salaries. I hear you.
Well, and I think for the people that stay on, it's more fun. Like the things that we can do now with AI, it makes their jobs a lot more fun and interesting.
Yeah.
And it's not like the boring kind of, I feel like Robotic Marketer and some of the other AIs take the boring work that's repetitive and they do that.
Yeah, I love marketing. I'm super passionate. I wake up in the middle of the night and then I have an idea and I literally start working on it.
Yeah.
So I'm one of those people, but I have to tell you, I procrastinate when I develop a strategy when I was doing it manually all the time. I'd always do it at the last minute. I would never put the effort that I needed to put into it. And I think, and that goes with, you know, if you ask one of your team members to write a blog, if you tell them they've got 1 hour or 2 hours to write it, that's how long it will take. But if you don't give them a time frame, if you asked me to write a blog and you said, didn't give me a time frame, it could take me all day. But if you told me it had to be finished in 40 minutes, it'll be finished in 40 minutes. And so I think, you know, having a blueprint, knowing what your strategy is, knowing what timeframes around delivering that strategy, what expectations, what's the predictive outcomes, all of those things really aid into how do we increase the performances of our businesses? How do we become more successful faster? How do we reduce our costs? You know, all those factors that as entrepreneurs, you know, really make us thrive.
Yeah. Absolutely agreed. Mr. Pink is looking forward to exploring Robotic Marketer and sent a message, so he hopes to connect soon.
Fantastic.
I
like Mr. Pink.
Yeah.
Hey, favorite color.
Oh.
There's Mr. Pink.
Hi there.
Hi. Chris had asked a question earlier, and I think you answered it. I just wanted to make sure that it was answered.
Yeah, no, it was. I guess there's an agency level of this for pricing as well.
Yeah, yes, definitely. Do you have an agency?
I could say yes. Sure, I don't have a marketing agency, but it's certainly extremely useful in my role in my business,
right,
to be helping my clients.
Yeah, what type of business do you have?
We provide VAs.
Yeah.
And so what I see in our world, in our space, is that everyone's going to dive into 1,000 AI products and packages and services, but they really need that fundamental plan. They need a plan to implement this. Otherwise, they're just going to have bright, shiny objects every second day.
Yeah.
And so
I know what that feels like.
How about we give you the plan first, and then we'll show you not just the VA, not just the AI tools to use them to implement, but also the VAs that come with it who are already trained to use those tools.
Yeah, I truly think over the next 12 months, you most probably don't need to be a marketer to run marketing. I think it's just changing so much. Now, I could be totally wrong, and we've got to really see how this all rolls out. But you know, something like a VA, the questions, yes, you do need to do a training course. You do need to understand what the different areas of marketing are, to, you know, garbage in, garbage out. Put the wrong information in, you're going to get garbage out, right? And we all know that, and it's something that when you're dealing with any type of technology, whether it's CRM, whether it's, you know, email marketing, any of the technologies that we use, if we're not putting good data in, you're not going to get something good out. So, you know, really important that post training, I think people can be trained on how to use Robotic Marketer. It was built for entrepreneurs primarily, not necessarily marketers. And from there, it's like, well, how do we implement it? Well, if they have the right prompts and they know what to put into ChatGPT, they can certainly get it to 80% for your clients. And then the client can take it over from there. That is really game changing. If your virtual assistant can do that for you, wow. But it's certainly positive, possible to do, but it takes training. And I speak to Nicole about this all the time, just with, anyone that's working with Robotic Marketer or a CRM software, you need training. You can't just expect to go in and fly through it. One of the things that when I first came up with the idea of Robotic Marketer was that it was voice activated. And so the robot asked you the question, you gave an answer, and it actually challenged you to get the right, like I would in a workshop. That is, I need a lot more money to get that working at the level that I need it to be working. So if you know anyone who wants to give me the money to do that, please let me know. But it was a really great idea, because if you think about it, we want to be challenged. We really want our businesses to get to, the levels that fulfill our goals and our dreams. And AI can do that for us. It can challenge us in a way that if I was delivering the same challenging points, sometimes people get really pissed off and think that I'm being condescending, or, I'm not understanding. And it's, your accent, it's, your tone of voice, it's all these different variables. But with AI, you can adjust it. You can make that flexible and make it to your own hearing. How do you like to hear a voice? How do you like to experience a conversation? And that, for me, I think that was my dream. It just was a lot harder to reach.
Yeah, you'll get there. I'm sure you'll get there. I think that would be so cool to have that conversation. And then Dan asked a question. I'm sure you can answer this pretty easily. I run a fractional CMO business. What role could Robotic Marketer play within fractional CMO?
Yeah. So as a productivity tool for your CMOs. So as they work with each one of their clients, using Robotic Marketer to develop strategy, to manage that strategy's performance, to report, the reports that they have to give their customers, making sure that becomes all automated. So it frees up more time for them. Maybe it's time you still charge for. I don't know what your model is, but it's certainly, if it's on outcomes rather than hourly rates, what you'll probably find is they'll be higher performing, your customer will be happier, and the transparency will always be there.
Yeah, and I can say from my own experience as a fractional CMO, that is how I start every engagement, is with a marketing strategy. And I don't just charge the 2,000, because there's a lot of work that we put into it too.
Yeah.
And
branding, unique value proposition, all that sort of stuff is really important.
Because if you have a fractional CMO, the way that you look at your calendar for the implementation calendar kind of changes too. So Dan, I'm sure we'll have more conversations about this. But it's so nice, because if you like systems and process, this really makes it so much more clear and easy, and it productizes a service that you provide even more, so that it's just like this repeatable process every time.
Yeah. And just helps the standard of what you're providing your customer to stay high. From one CMO to another, you can't be guaranteed, particularly if you're looking at scaling, you can't be guaranteed that one person's going to be as good as the person sitting next to them. And in my experience of hiring, hundreds of marketing, if not thousands, hundreds of marketing managers, they could have what on their CV, something that looks really impressive, but in real life, you get them to do marketing and you realize that perhaps they just ordered people around, So, or didn't, or sat in the corner, I don't know. But that's the quality control aspect. It allows you to always have a high, quality of output.
Yeah, agreed. All right, we are just past the hour, so I want to have a little conclusion here. Oh, yeah, so Amy asks, I typically get frustrated when it comes to learning a new skill. Will Salty or Robotic Marketer hold my hand while I learn this new skill? I would say yes, we will. Yeah, we've got you, Amy. And there's some links above that you can check out, but you have my cell phone, you can DM me, text me. Anything else, Melissa?
No, that's everything. If anyone wants more information, please feel free to reach out. I don't know, Nicole, should I put my email address in?
Sure.
The thing?
But a bunch of emails.
Oh, that could be, yeah, good point. Nicole also is a great point of contact. She has my ear all the time, 7 days a week. So yes, certainly anything that you need, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay. Thank you so much for this session, Melissa. Thanks everybody.
Pleasure.
For attending, and those who are going to watch it later because you're sleeping right now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you back on. I'll send our topic for the next one. Thank you,
everyone. Thank you, Melissa.
Pleasure.